Where does Subsqueeb come from?
I am the Solid Monster, and you're watching Tom Talks Rubbish right here on YouTube. And hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this one.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Tom Talk Trash, and stand back with another interview. Today, I am joined by a world champion powerlifter. You better make sure you subscribe to his channel. And I am joined by Malcolm from Muscle Memory. So welcome on the show, my friend.
What's up, man? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm really excited to do this. I'm not going to lie. But before we get into your content creating side of things, where do you first discover wrestling as a fan?
I first found wrestling, it was like 2008. I think my dad just asked me, do I want to watch something cool on TV? And I was like, sure, say less. So it was like the Raw before Night of Champions, 2008. So it was like Cena and Triple H just going back at it in promo battles. And I was like, wow, Triple H is muscly, and wow, John Cena has a cool t-shirt. I love it. And that's pretty much how I got into it.
So with the 2008 era, this sounds like it was PG, or was this pre the PG era? My brain doesn't work very well.
I think I want to say this is PG because it was like a year before the Punk and Hardy feud. So I know that was PG era then. So I think it was like just rolling into PG if it wasn't already. So it might have been tail end of TV 14.
Okay. So as someone that's discovered wrestling for the PG era, should I say? It's late in the day over here. I do apologize. As someone that discovered wrestling through the PG era, as you've gone back to watch maybe the Attitude Era and eras like that, do you look back on it with sort of like okay, I'm grossed out, or do you look back on it like oh man, I wish I was watching during this era?
More like the second one. Like I wish I was watching it because like if I came up with like watching guys like The Rock and Steve Austin and like Jericho back when he was like Y2J and stuff, like I feel like I would love it even more. I mean, I already love wrestling a bit too much, but I think I would love wrestling even more if I started watching back in the 90s and even the eras before that, like the golden era and stuff. With like, sorry if you hear a car behind me, but
I'm good.
Okay, cool. Guys like I'm not a big Hogan guy, but like in that era of like Hogan and Warrior and Macho Man and whatnot, like those kind of athletes are. And Ricky Steamboat, gotta say Ricky Steamboat. Being around that kind of time era, I feel like I would have a different perception on what wrestling is. So I feel like there's so many people in the industry right now, as far as wrestlers or media personalities, that like we all watch from different angles. So like some people came in through the Ruthless Aggression, some people came in PG, some people came in the Attitude Era, Golden Era, etc., AWA back in the day. So I feel like if I had that perspective, what a lot of other people see wrestling as, I feel like I would just like it differently.
Do you not think that gives you a uniqueness though? Growing up in the era that you did. Why am I struggling with words?
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely an interesting perspective to grow up in like the PG era because like this is like the time period where everyone doesn't like wrestling. So like to actually grow up a fan of it and like enjoy it, it's different when you hear people kind of crap on the PG era. Cause I'm like, wait, no, I actually really liked that 2010 year. Like that was one of my favorite years of wrestling.
I'm the same because I started
watching.
Not to talk about myself too much, but I started watching during the 2009 Batista You're Supposed to Be My Friend heel turn. So I look back on that as if to be like, that is amazing. But everyone I speak to is like, why did you like this? So speaking of why did you like this, is there anything you've gone back and watched and you've been like, why did I like this as a fan back then in that era? And then what is something from a previous era that you've maybe gone and watched that you've been like, I wish I was watching during this time?
It's a good question. Something I guess like most like Ryback feuds, I feel like liking Ryback's a weird thing to do nowadays. I was a huge Ryback guy though. I loved me some Ryback, but I guess anything related to Ryback, I feel like is something that a lot of people now look like, I don't really look at it as like a bad thing, but a lot of people look at it as like, why would you be a fan of him? But personally, I thought he was okay. And as far as like in the era before me, I really wish I just came up watching like WCW and having like that. Like, yeah, we have AEW now, but having like that WWE versus or WWF versus WCW like era when it felt like competition, not like
Yeah.
we're all buds in the back competition like AEW. I feel like that would have been really cool. And like that's like when like wrestling was like at its peak of like everyone loves wrestling. So to come up in that era would have been really sick. So I kind of wish I saw that, but I still like where I came up as well.
So if we move on into your fandom before your content creating, obviously stop me if content creating comes up during any point that I'm talking. But have you had like an off period from wrestling where you've been like, okay, things have come up, I'm just going to put it away for now?
I tried to get away from it for like a year, but it was more one of those things where I'm like, I feel like I'm trying to not like it because other people are telling me not to like it. You know, like high school stuff, you know, like people try to tell you wrestling's fake and maybe it is a little scripted, but yeah, I guess like during that time, like freshman year high school, everyone's trying to tell you that wrestling's dumb, da 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 da. So I tried to get away from it for like a good like couple months, and I was like, you know, whatever, brother. I just like this stuff. It is what it is. So I think I might have missed like I don't even know what time period it was. It was before SummerSlam 2014. So like around that era, like that summer of like 2014, I kind of missed out a good amount. So yeah, I missed that, but yeah, I mean it's more like don't let people define you type of thing. Instagram quotes. So yeah.
Yeah, I get you. So how does powerlifting come into your life at this point? Or how does powerlifting come into your life then?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely through wrestling. I got into lifting when I was 13, and I got into powerlifting when I was 15. Mainly just watching all these like giant muscular behemoths just roll around the ring. I'm like, yo, I want to look like that. So I found like a Triple H book about working out, and I was like in a random city in North Carolina. I don't even know what I was doing there because I live in DC, but I found that book and I was like, you got it. I found the book and I was like, yo, this is kind of fire. I want to look like Triple H. So I started working out like that. And then I got into powerlifting mainly because I saw Mark Henry just being absolutely huge and strong. So I just really wanted to be like Mark Henry. I still want to be like Mark Henry. So probably when I was about 15, I got into powerlifting. So it was all because of wrestling. Wrestling's dictated my life since I was like 8. So everything comes down to wrestling.
So, and this might sound like a very dumb question, but if you'd never discovered wrestling, do you think you would have discovered powerlifting?
I think I would have heard of it. I think I would have worked out. I don't know if it'd be at the same extent. So probably not. More than likely, I probably would have been like just a basic kid to play baseball or something, and that's it. But nah, probably not to the extent that I am now into lifting. So I'll go with no.
So, how does your YouTube channel come about? Muscle Memory with Malcolm.
Yeah. So I started my YouTube channel when I was, I think, 13. I moved up to DC for the first time, so I moved a lot. And I was kind of just bored. Like I had some friends at school, but also didn't have too many. So I was kind of like always bored when I came back from school. So I kind of just started playing like wrestling figures and whatnot. And the YouTube channel used to be called 99 Awesome One, which was the dumbest name ever, but it is what it is. And I think I changed it to Muscleman Malcolm once I got more into fitness. I tried to like move away from making wrestling content, but I realized that's not the move. I like wrestling too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of just changed it to Muscleman Malcolm when I want to say.
Sorry, I realized I butchered the name of your channel. I do apologize.
Nah, you're good. You're good. Nah, I mean, that's the name of the YouTube show where I interview guys, muscle memory.
That's it.
So, like, it's fine. It's fine.
So, how does muscle memory come about then?
Okay, so it was really recent. So it was like this summer, I believe. I had already been interviewing people. I already had a lot of like people knowing about what I do. At least it's just like an interview segment and didn't have a name at all. And I had just met the Bella twins. And I left the meet and greet, which was in Virginia somewhere. And I'm sitting in the mall with my friend, and I'm telling her about it. I'm like, yeah, I want to name the interview show something. I just don't know what to name it. So I started just going through random names. And she was like, what about muscle memory? Because like that's like your YouTube name. And I was like, holy crap.
That works.
Yeah, so that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I just ripped it off from one of my friends who just came up with the idea on top of her head. And there was a name I was looking for like a year and a half. So much thanks and blessings to her. So she helped me a lot.
So how does interviewing some of the greats in wrestling media, but also wrestling in general, come about?
As far as like interviewing people, I did my first ever interview when I was 16 or 17. It was outside of an MCW building, MCW Pro Wrestling in Maryland. I interviewed Lance on Hawaii, who's like in a part of the bloodline, kind of.
Yeah.
He's part of that Samoan dynasty. I talked to him a few times. He's a great guy. It started from there just because I was a really big fan of his, and it kind of just moved itself. I kind of started and stopped interviewing. And eventually I got into the point where I was like, all right, let me just actually try to interview people when like COVID started. So I reached out to Roxy, who's now Roxanne Perez and NXT, talked to her a few times, talked to Chris Bay, talked to Leo Rush. I think it was like the last interview before he was released from WWE, which is insane. And yeah, so I mean, it kind of just started by just reaching out to the wrestlers that I was at least already friendly with and just building that relationship from there and showing other people, hey, I've talked to these guys. Let me interview some more people. Then I got Nick Aldis, and then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So you're interviewing wrestlers at this point. So how does the idea to add content creators come into that?
Honestly, I started to run out of wrestlers to talk
Fair
to
enough.
because like some people were a little bit, yeah. Like some people I would hear back from them sometimes. It'd just be a no, and that's fine. Other times I just wouldn't hear back from certain companies because eventually you get to the point where like, yeah, it happens a lot. Because if you want to reach out to like these bigger companies and like they don't always respond. Luckily, I've been blessed a few times with some good responses from them. But it got to the point like, well, I don't want to go 3 weeks without having an interview up. But also, I have my contact list is full of just content creators on my phone. So I'm like, why don't I just start asking around? And like I just had Brandon Does Everything BDE on my channel recently.
Great interview, by the way. Like I watched that and I was like, yep, that was fun. I really enjoyed that.
I appreciate it. But yeah, just having guys like him, Wyatt, Plana Productions. I know we talked about him off camera, and a couple other people. Like I just have like I'm well connected enough that I can reach out to a good amount of people, and more than likely they will say yes. So yeah, it's just been just years of just, I guess, networking, I guess is what it's called, but it's more just being friendly. It's more just being friendly, honestly, and kind of just asking the people that I was already cool with.
So how does your process for research or the way you pitch an interview change if you're reaching out to a YouTuber as opposed to if you're reaching out to a wrestler?
More than likely, if it's a YouTuber, I'm already boys with them, so like I can just text them like at any second of the day. I'm pretty sure I asked Plana. I did the one with Plana, but we were supposed to do it like 3 different times before that, but life kept getting in the way.
Kind of like this.
Yeah, kind of like this one.
Sorry, it was right there. I had to say something.
No, it was right there. Plana, I just asked him. I just have his number, so I just texted him. Same thing goes for Brandon. Same thing goes for any of these guys, really. As far as like wrestlers, I kind of just introduce myself and say who I am. If I'm not doing it through like another company. If it's like an AEW or Impact Wrestling, I kind of give a real long pitch. I'm like, hey, this is who I am. Here's what I do. Here's who I've talked to. This is why I'm somewhat barely credible. Can I talk to your people? And like sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's no response, sometimes it's a not right now. But it'll all work out with how it needs to work out.
How does the way you research those people change if you're researching, let's just say, someone you don't know, like a wrestler, to a content creator that you are already familiar with? Do you do much research when you're already familiar with them or not really?
No, I do a lot of research. So it really just goes into like just taking the time. I mean, like I kind of just go, if it's like a YouTuber, luckily with YouTubers it's so much easier because they have such a like distinct backlog of like everything they've done.
I would fully agree with that.
Yeah. But when it comes to like wrestlers, it gets a little bit tricky, especially depending on age, because like you don't know where stuff is documented, like how far back you can find their career depending on who it is. Like when I talk to DDP, there's a lot of information about him, but not a whole lot about his earlier years. So that's when you really got to start doing the digging. But yeah, when it comes to like guys that are a little bit older, that gets a little bit difficult, but it's more just take the time. I mean, if you set up the interview, you might as well do everything you can to make sure it's good. So
Definitely.
take the effort.
So if I said to you, you can pick between one genre of just wrestlers or just wrestling YouTubers, you have to pick one. Which ones are you going to continue to do interviews with?
Oh, wrestlers, for sure. I mean, like I love the YouTubers and stuff, but I mean wrestlers. Like I think it's pretty easy to say. I'm way more interested in talking to wrestlers than I am talking to YouTubers, because YouTubers, I more than likely just want to be your friend. Like we can just vibe. But when it comes to wrestlers, like I don't necessarily have a will to be like your best bud. I just want to interview you because I want to know more about like your career and what you plan on doing, the events coming up. Like I actually just want to interview you as a professional. When it comes to interviewing YouTubers, it's more like we're just already boys, so let's just talk about what we already know about each other, or what I know about you at least. So yeah, wrestlers for sure, because there's a bigger option to talk to people, especially with different events always coming up. There's always something to talk about with these wrestlers, depending on the day.
How does your process change when you know it's going to be something like this, like a virtual interview, to something like a media scrum, which I know you're at for Double or Nothing, and Starcast, should I say, and just an in-person interview? How does your process change then?
I feel like virtual is a lot easier. I feel like in person you have to be a lot more personable. That used to make me really nervous a lot. I used to be super anxious about that because I was just like a really shy kid growing up.
Really?
Yeah, super.
That surprises me. I'm not.
I'm a huge what's the word?
Introvert.
Introvert. Yeah, there we go. I'm a huge introvert. Like I'm super quiet. Unless there's a camera rolling, then I'm like super talkative. Yeah, so like in person, it's a little nerve wracking because I'm like, oh my god, like here's a person I love watching on TV. Now I have to be cool and not act like a mark, even though I want to act like a mark because I am a mark. So it's a weird process, but honestly, I just talk to him about something that's really recent in sports, and it usually works. So like if it's a dude, I usually go straight to basketball and we just chat it up. And then if it's like anyone else, like we're just talking about football or something, just anything that's like not wrestling to get them like not in this mode, like, oh, I am talking to some mark. And then they're kind of like a little more open to talk about whatever I have listed.
Fair enough. So when it comes to like dreams in the YouTube sphere and stuff like that, who's on your YouTube bucket list to do interviews with? Wrestlers, content creators, etc.?
I feel like I've like hit all the big ones so far. Trying to think. I've had Chris Danger or Dan Cops.
By the way, that's the one I'm most jealous of. I'm just gonna point that out.
Luckily, because of Deadlock Pro Wrestling, that's how we connected. Because, like, I mean, I think he followed me before. Obviously, I was already following him because he's very famous and very cool. But luckily, through DPW, we met in person just because I was there to interview people and he was there to be a star. But he's like the nicest guy ever. But
One day.
He played his character very well. Yeah, he's a dope dude. But I guess like YouTubers, who do I want to interview? Probably Denise Salcedo. I would love to talk to her. I have interviewed her before, but like it didn't make YouTube because it just didn't work out because like camera stuff.
Do you want to tell the story behind that?
Yeah, the camera just died.
Oh,
it's a kind of boring story, but I mean, yeah. So probably her again because like I really liked the interview and she was very nice. So I guess to interview her again would be really cool, and so it actually goes out on the internet. Yeah, probably Denise right now is probably my top one, or just anyone from like Wrestle Talk. I've been trying to like set some stuff up with them. Maybe that'll be coming soon.
I've got a few in the can. They were fun.
Yeah, like they seem like dope dudes. So yeah, I've always been really cool with Luke. So hopefully he can come on sometime.
What about wrestler? Who is your bucket list wrestler?
I don't know. I have a lot of like unrealistic ones and also realistic. I feel like the most unrealistic that's also realistic is Mark Henry, just because like he's like my dad, so I feel like he owes me that. So Mark Henry's probably the top one right now. As far as like this unrealistic and it's just kind of far-fetched, I mean it has to be like the top ones. Like if you're not going for the best, don't go for any. So I want John Cena. I want The Rock. I want Vince McMahon, but I don't want to talk about anything about Vince McMahon that he doesn't want to talk about. So
I know.
yeah,
It's
but
like
I guess guys like that.
Everyone's putting on Twitter that a Vince McMahon interview would be amazing. It's like I could imagine it just being a lot of no comment, no comment, no comment. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, we would not. I wouldn't even want to touch on that. We would just talk about sports and money because I'm sure he'll talk about that.
Yeah. So when it comes to, you mentioned being a shy kid growing up, I imagine you have a routine when it comes to getting in that zone to be on camera. So what is your routine?
That's a good one. I don't know if I like really thought about my routine. It's kind of more. I think when I was younger and like I didn't really have like I didn't really know how to like speak or anything like that. It was kind of more of like write out everything that I say and then get ready. This time or like nowadays, I like bullet point a lot of stuff just so I don't like miss anything when I'm talking on camera. Because like obviously I can edit it and make myself sound like educated, but I guess now it's more just like F it, just do it, just talk and see what happens. Especially if I'm interviewing a wrestler and like if I'm at like Starcast and I'm walking up to a guy and I'm just interviewing him on the spot. So I'm like, all right, I don't have too much prepared. F it, let's do it. And that's kind of how it works now. It's like whatever. Let's just if it sucks, I don't have to put it on the internet.
Do you subscribe to that? If it sucks, don't put it on the internet. Or are you a person that's like, I want people to see all of my creations to show that not everything goes correct all of the time? I think that makes sense.
No, I don't subscribe to that at all. I put my highlights out there. I feel like maybe in like a year time, if I have stuff. I mean, I haven't really had too many misses. That sounds cocky to say, but I just haven't yet. I'm sure I will.
I would agree with that.
But
I've watched your channel.
I appreciate it. But I feel like it's something that I don't know. Like if I go on someone's YouTube channel, I expect to see like my image of what I want their channel to look like is kind of what I want to see. So I feel like the image of my channel that people have, I want to make sure it stays that well. So like if I put out an interview that sucks, I'd rather it just not make air at all than someone see it and correct me and do da 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 da. Trust me, I can correct myself 10 times harder than anyone else can correct me. So I already know what's the problem in the interview or something I said before anyone else even tells me. Yeah, so I just wouldn't put it out.
It's just like Andrew Thompson, when I had him on recently, was like, I can give you feedback, but you'll be the most critical person of yourself. If that makes sense. For sure, definitely. So like we've been talking for about half an hour. I'm gonna regret asking this, but what was your image of my channel when you first saw it? And then where can I improve as I improve down the road?
No, for sure. I guess my image of your channel was like, man, he talks to all the top people in wrestling media. That's like I was sitting here like looking through your channel before I joined the Zoom meeting because I already watched your stuff before. Yeah, I don't really have any critiques. I guess like I don't know. I guess like camera quality. You know, I feel like everyone's camera quality can always improve. Like that's not even a knock to just you. I feel like myself, anyone out there, even if people use like the top cameras in the world, camera quality can always improve. So I guess that's kind of the feedback I give anybody.
Yeah,
camera quality, I guess.
That is happening down the road. It's just stuff like that is very expensive, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah, so, it takes time. That takes time. It takes money, of course. So, whenever it's possible, make it possible. Until then, it is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. So, but as an interview, like, have you picked up on anything that you're like, oh, I wish he'd stop doing that or something like that?
No, honestly, I liked all your questions. I thought they were cool.
Mm-hmm. So as we look at wrapping this up, because I do want to be respectful of your time, we're going to do something that I've ripped off from your channel, and then we're going to do a very quick segment that I call generic questions. The thing that I've ripped off from your channel is hot takes.
Bet. I like it.
So we are going to do what is your hot take on the elite backstage fight? Whose side are you on, etc.?
Oh, man. Okay, so I'm right, Malcolm in the middle, because I think they're all wrong and all right. So the elite definitely had their errors because if you're an EVP, you just shouldn't be kicking doors down or whatever they did that caused them to enter CM Punk's locker room and eventually the fight that happened between the two of them.
And also, my opinion is they had a dog in harm's way. That is not fun.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I feel like it was all a very vulnerable situation. My image on it is that they're all professional wrestlers, and the first word is professional. So
Hmm?
you have to be professional. That's not a really professional thing, but also I don't really care that they fought necessarily. It's just how everything was like handled. Because I mean they're in a grown man business, so if they fight, they fight. It is what it is. I don't really have a side. I see the rights and wrongs of both of them. CM Punk just shouldn't have said all that stuff that he said. But also, if he had that much in him, he needed to get out. I mean, I kind of understand as well. I think it could have been done at a different time where he could have handled all those situations in a better light.
Yeah,
But,
definitely.
you know, whatever happens next for all of them, I wish them all the best for the rest of their careers and mainly just their lives in general, because there's always life outside of wrestling.
Best wrestling promotion right now.
Best wrestling promotion. Okay, so I'm a huge NWA guy, but I'm not going to pick them currently because I feel like as much as I like them, it's not like I work for them, so I don't have to be super biased.
Mm.
I have to say there is some stuff I love like 90% what NWA does, but it's also 10% like we can work on it. But I will say the best company personally. I have to go with WWE. I mean, that's such a basic answer to
I
give, but
would,
like
to be
they're
honest, in
doing
a minute.
so well.
Mm.
Like I mean, like Raw comes on in like a few hours, and like I'm gonna watch it because like it's exciting, like it's cool.
Mm.
I'm huge on Bobby Lashley and Rollins right now. Like those two are doing some of the best work of their career. So like WWE's doing like some. Oh, and of course Roman Reigns be the ones, baby. But
Mm.
Bianca too. I could just list wrestlers all day. But like WWE's been doing some excellent work. So I would have to say them currently, but I mean, I like what AEW's doing also. Like, I mean, like, shout out everybody. I feel like there's definitely some stuff that like the smaller leagues could do better, but they'll have their time in the sun and it'll happen.
You mentioned Roman there, so another hot take. Who dethrones Roman and why?
Okay, so everyone likes to say Cody and Rollins and Rock. I feel like those are the most like frequently answered ones.
I've
I'm gonna
never
say
heard
someone
Rollins,
different.
so that's pretty cool.
Oh, a lot. I've heard a lot of people say Rollins. That's surprising. You haven't heard that one before.
No.
So mine is really left field. Mine's Solo Sequoia. I think he's definitely the one to take it off Roman Reigns. I feel like his reasoning of being a bloodline, he was sent by the elders, is to take the titles off of Roman and then reclaim the head of the
Oh,
table. That's what I
yeah.
think. I think it's
I
Solo.
like that, funny
I
enough.
think it's Solo.
I will say the bullshit how they took the North American title off him. I did not like that.
I was not a fan of that. I was like, all right, like if Solo couldn't hold on to it, why did we let Carmelo lose? Y'all could have waited to the pay-per-view or takeover
Yeah.
or Halloween Havoc, whatever it's called. Then have him lose
100%.
it. Oh, Carmelo's so amazing. Don't do him dirty ever. Solo's so amazing. Don't do him dirty ever. Like
Yeah.
I hated it.
So did I. I fully agree with you on that one. And then the final hot take is which wrestler has the best matches currently?
Best matches. Okay, man, I'm gonna say a few people because I can't just pick one. Sheamus and Gunther, separate and together, are doing some of the best work
What
ever.
a match.
Yo, crazy, and they're gonna face each other again in like a week or two. It's
Are
gonna
they?
yeah, for the season's premiere of SmackDown for the IC
Must
title
watch
again too.
SmackDown because
Must
I don't
watch.
normally. So it's like, now
You
you've told me
have
that,
to.
it'll be like, I'll be finding that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like those two are going crazy. Roman's doing amazing work as well. I'm gonna list a couple people. Carmelo Hayes, I love Carmelo. I'm a huge Carmelo guy. Bobby Lashley is going absolutely berserk on everybody. Loving Bobby. Bianca, just love Bianca. Who else? I don't know. The whole AW roster goes crazy. They're all great. Ricky Starks, shout out Ricky Starks, shout out the Acclaim, shout out Keith Lee and Swerve. All of them, they're so good. Just so many great wrestlers.
I fully agree. So when it comes to YouTube and stuff, what are some of your goals? But also, you mentioned about being shy and stuff. How do you avoid like burnout and like, oh, I've got to do this interview and talk to people? How do you avoid like that feeling of burnout?
Honestly, I'm literally just getting over like a burnout cycle recently because like this summer I was definitely burnt out just because I had so much going on. I just graduated and whatnot. So like there's so much life happening at once for me to also focus on YouTube as well. So I kind of went through a little burnout, but like not enough for me to like disappear for like a month, but enough for me to like realize that I'm having some burnout. But I'm over it now. So we back at it. Yeah, wait, what's that other part of the question?
We'll go on to that in a second, but like, how did you get over the burnout, and have you put anything in place to be like, okay, I can see burnout happening again. I don't want to go through what I went through again. So what have you put in place to maybe stop it? That was wordy.
Yeah, no, that was a good question though. So one TikTok, I've been doing a lot of TikToks recently. That's giving me a different kind of creative output because I'm trying to make my channel more like interview centric, so I still get that like out that platform to still be like super creative on TikTok. So that definitely has like reignited a different kind of flame that I'm trying to figure out what I really want to do with that exactly. As well as just like prioritizing just life with YouTube, not YouTube then life,
Mm.
because that was part of my problem. I was really good at that when I was in college of like prioritizing YouTube over life, and now I'm like, all right, I got a lot of cool stuff going on, so I'm gonna prioritize life with YouTube, and right now it's been working out pretty well. I've been pretty okay.
Boxing's become my like burnout thing. That thing that I sent you the other day. I was like, I'm gonna show him this. It's like
Yeah,
this has become my outlet, and it's like I fully. If you're frustrated about anything, go hit a punching bag, man. Like that makes me feel. Whew, do you know what I mean?
no, exactly. Yeah. Like I just got back into doing boxing recently. I'm going tomorrow at like 7 a.m. So that's gonna be fun.
Oof.
Yeah, no, boxing's definitely been dope. Like watching all the creators outside of wrestling has also been something that's helped me a lot because it
Mm.
gives me like something to think about that isn't wrestling all the time. Because
Yeah,
part of it's like I think too much about wrestling. So like watching like KSI and Jake, you know, some people don't like the Pauls, but whatever. Jake Paul,
that's
Logan
a whole
Paul.
nother
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, so that's a whole nother one. But watching all those guys being so like great in the ring and whatnot, I really like going from people that weren't athletic, well, like KSI, the Pauls are kind of athletic, to someone that's like extremely athletic, like them, like Slim, like Deji.
Mm.
They're going crazy. So I just watching that kind of stuff is reignited a different kind of flame. Now I really want to get in the boxing ring. I want to put some wrestling YouTubers in the boxing ring. Chris Van Vliet, Sean Rossap, Wyatt Fan, Planet Productions, BDE. I want all y'all. I want to see y'all. I want to punch y'all
So do
respectfully.
I. That'd be fun, I
Respect. I
think.
want to respectfully punch you in the mouth. Not you, but like Sean and Chris and Wyatt and Brandon. I'm just saying names. Anyone can get this. I got a
If I
two-piece
clip
combo.
this, will you hate me?
Nah, you can clip it and send it to him. I'm with it.
Fair enough. So you talked about the YouTube and the boxing side, but if you did get an offer from WWE or any wrestling promotion to do something, would you take it? Would it be something you consider?
Yeah, no, I mean the goal like for like my YouTube channel is to launch myself into a space where I can work for a WWE or an AEW, even an Impact Wrestling or NWA. That's like the goal of that YouTube channel. A lot of people's goal is just to grow big on YouTube, and that's great. That's also what I want to do as well. But my life image doesn't see me only on YouTube forever. It sees me on YouTube as well as like in the WWE, in
Mm.
AEW, in Impact Wrestling, NWA, etc. So like that, yeah, for sure.
What would your role be, do you reckon? Would you want to wrestle? Would you want to commentate?
Honestly, I don't know right now. Like I'm contemplating on if I really want to train to be a wrestler or not right now. That's your little exclusive. I don't think I've told anyone that yet. Um, so I'm kind of like in between that stage of like I think I want to, but also I see why I don't because like I like my body, you know, and I want to be able to move when I'm 70.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm
Or you
kind of
don't
in that
end up,
stage. I
or
don't
you don't
know.
want to end up in one of these. I'm in a wheelchair if you can't see, by the
Oh
way.
man, oh yeah, no, I wouldn't want to be in that position, but like yeah, man, it's like I just don't. I don't know. It's one of those things that I kind of I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know yet, but like it would be something media related. I don't know exactly what that'd be, especially like I guess okay to backtrack a little bit. Backstage interviewer is kind of like the real goal. I kind of like that a lot. I did that in DPW for a little bit. Really enjoyed it. So maybe backstage interviewer.
Would you be comfortable though with the way, say you got signed to WWE, would you be comfortable with the way that they present their backstage interviewers with limited personality? Would that be something you'd be comfortable doing?
Limited personality with big checks sounds good to me.
I didn't
Sounds
even think
good
of that,
to
but
me.
that's a fair point.
Yeah, whatever. I don't need a personality. What's that check again, Triple H? Okay, I got your no personality right here.
Fair enough. So, just quickly before we do a couple of my wrap up segments, where does Subsqueeb come from?
I made it up. I left the gym one day. I drank too much Monster, and I said Subsqueeb on a vlog that's no longer on YouTube because I thought it was too cringe. Yeah, I just made it up on the spot.
Is it just is it one of them things that you were like, I hope this doesn't stick, and now it's stuck? Or was it something you were hoping would stick?
I think I forced it to stick because there's no way I could have made that stick off like just comments. I had to just keep saying it. And now it kind of just works.
Fair enough. So as we wrap this up, we're going to do a very quick segment that I call generic questions. Those of you that have seen my interviews before will know this, where I ask my guests their favorite match, favorite pay-per-view, favorite wrestling theme song, favorite tag team, favorite wrestling superstar of all time. Basically questions that Malcolm might get asked on social media quite regularly. So now he'll have a place to be like, look, dudes, I've answered this. Please go watch this. So what is your favorite match of all time?
Right now it is currently Cody versus Nick Aldis at All In.
Ooh, yeah. Why that one?
I just love the story of like Cody winning that world championship that his dad helped. It was like the coolest thing ever. And again, I'm a huge NWA guy, so like just that moment, that card, that night, it was all very special.
Favorite pay-per-view of all time?
Pay-per-view. Ooh, I guess WrestleMania 25. It was the first ever like pay-per-view I ever watched. So WrestleMania 25. Yeah, it was a good card.
Very good. Like we talked about earlier about that era being crapped on, and everyone craps on that Mania, excluding Shawn and Taker. But take out the main event, that was actually a brilliant card. The main event,
I actually really liked it. Yeah, like some people say it sucked. I mean, I wasn't big on Triple H and Orton, but like I still watch it and I enjoyed it very much. Like, I thought it was all right.
Favorite wrestling theme song of all time?
I'm really big on Mark Henry's theme song right now, so I guess I'll stick with his because that's my dad.
What his?
Somebody gonna get the kicked.
Oh, okay.
Somebody gonna get the wig split.
Okay, I was like, has he had an AEW one that I've not heard? And I'm like,
oh yeah, I don't even know if he has an AEW one or not.
I think he literally came out to like the pay-per-view theme when he debuted. I think I couldn't.
He probably did.
Fair enough. So, and then favorite wrestling tag team of all time?
Favorite tag team. I'll go with the Usos. I mean, every time I've met them, I've been going to their meet and greets since I was like 14, and they always made the effort to remember me. So they especially remember me now. So probably them because they take the time to actually remember their fans and talk to them and interact with them. Especially now since I'm in a position where I can like interview people and whatnot. I feel like if I ever get to the point where I interview WWE people, I feel like the Usos will probably be the first ones on that list.
I could see it happening, man. Like I love your work. You know this, and it's like I could definitely see that happening. So, who is your favorite superstar or wrestler of all time?
All time is probably Cena, but my girlfriend really likes Bianca Belair, so I feel like I want to go with Bianca. So I'll go with Bianca.
Fair enough. And as we wrap this up, the question I end all my interviews on is with YouTube, with podcasting, with social media in general, we're all sort of going to live forever in some sort of very, very weird way. So what is one piece of content from your good self that you want the good people to check out and remember you by? And then what is one that you're like, if you could delete that from your brain, I would appreciate it.
If you could delete one thing from me, I did a diss track on Xavier Woods when I was like 17. That can get deleted from everyone's minds that's ever seen it. Go ahead and delete it. And then something I want people to see. I'm really proud of a documentary I did on Mr. Grimm. He's a wrestler from Maryland in the DC area. He's very good. I want people to see that. Not necessarily because like I'm not on it at all. Like you don't see my face, but it's just a matter of like I'm really proud of the fact that I did really good storytelling on that.
Oh, wow.
Just, like, explaining who he is to like people who may not have known who he was at the time. So probably that. I'm probably going to say something different if you ask me that another day, but that's the one that comes to my mind first. So I'll go with that one.
Fair enough. And as we wrap this up, because obviously I want to say thank you to Malcolm for coming on, but where can the good people find you and all your content as we wrap this up?
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on youtube.com/Muscleman Malcolm, the greatest wrestling YouTuber to ever freaking live, bro. You can find me on, I'm forgetting some of them, Instagram and Twitter is both Malcolm Muscle. Just follow me. There's great stuff, great tweets. TikTok's just Muscleman Malcolm. You can look me up on LinkedIn if you want. I mean, that's up to you if that's what you choose to do on your free time. Pinterest, not on it, but you could try. Foursquare, not on it. You can try. Yeah, that's it. MySpace, I'm not on it, but you can also try.
Is that still a thing?
Maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, as we wrap this up, I want to obviously make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to Tom Talk Trash. Follow me on Twitter at Tom Talk Trash. Follow bodyslam.net wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube for my show with Cassidy Haynes, the WrestleWatch Pod. And follow the WrestleWatch Pod on Twitter to help us pick the match that we're going to watch every week. And I will see you in the next interview. A goodbye.